If you've looked at social media lately, you'd think the Portuguese national team is tearing itself apart. Comment sections are flooded with toxicity, fake quotes are going viral, and fans are convinced there is a literal civil war happening inside the dressing room. Social media reads this as a clash of personalities, but the tracking data points to a structural collision between legacy tactics and modern sports science. For decades, the standard blueprint for international success was simple. Build a rigid defensive structure to protect your most talented superstar, feed them the ball, and wait for magic. Today, that philosophy has been replaced by systems that prioritize collective output over individual moments. To see exactly how this transition works, we can look at two historic giants as our test subjects, Portugal and Brazil. Both are carrying heavy expectations, but they are handling the shift toward modern football in completely opposite ways. By comparing these two setups, we can see the exact formula required to survive on the pitch today, and why sticking to the old ways is a guaranteed death sentence. Let's start with Portugal. For a long time, their entire tactical identity revolved around one objective: get the ball into the final third and let Cristiano Ronaldo finish the job. He is a historic goal-scoring machine, and the system was built from the ground up to serve him. But the squad's internal dynamic has shifted. Midfield generals like Bruno Fernandes have taken command, demanding a much faster style of play that requires constant off-the-ball movement. Alongside him, you have young talents like João Neves, who operate as a high-intensity engine. They thrive in a system that demands rapid transitions and immediate counterpressing the second that possession is lost. This is where the structure fractures. A modern high press only works if all 11 players act as a synchronized hunting pack. If your forward line cannot match the intense pressing triggers of the midfield, the entire operation breaks down. When players like Bruno and Neves push high up the pitch to dictate tempo, but the forward remains stationary, a massive empty space opens up, a tactical vacuum. Opponents easily bypass the initial press, drop the ball into that gap, and launch a counterattack. The younger core of the squad, players like Diogo Jota and Rafael Leao, are pushing for an evolution. They want to rely on their raw speed and unpredictable positioning, rather than anchoring their runs to serve one specific target. All that noise about a fractured dressing room is actually the painful structural transition of a team moving away from a one-man monarchy toward a collective machine. Across the Atlantic, Brazil faced a similar problem with slow, predictable build-up play, but they have managed to transition to a high-octane reboot. This reboot relies on high-octane acceleration on the flanks, a physical pressure that forces defenders into immediate, reactionary mistakes. That specific catalyst is Vinicius Jr. He has stepped into the void to become the focal point of this new generation's identity. Analysts call it offensive gravity. Because his speed is so high, a single defender is rarely enough. When Vinicius receives the ball, he draws multiple defenders out of position. Pulling the defense toward the sideline ensures vast oceans of undefended space open up centrally. Brazil has intentionally constructed their squad to flood into those exact open zones. Every run into the box and every quick pass through the middle connects because the defense has been pulled out of shape. Unlike the friction we see in the Portuguese setup, Vinicius doesn't interrupt the team's structure. His gravity is the system itself, multiplying the effectiveness of every teammate around him by a factor of 10. Running these two approaches side by side reveals the math behind the modern game. Static hierarchies are consistently dismantled by high-intensity 11-man systems. This creates an urgent reality for Portugal. They have to find a way to merge the heavy legacy of their past with the physical requirements of the present, or their tournament hopes will collapse under the weight of modern tactics. Meanwhile, Brazil has successfully bridged that gap, securing a modernized core that already understands how to exploit space and velocity to their absolute limits. The days where you could predict exactly who gets the ball and what they'll do are over. Success now demands relentless pressing, requires extreme width, and total fluidity. To win at the highest level today, the system on the pitch must always be bigger than the name on the back of the shirt.